Hello everyone, welcome to my most recent vlog. The things I want to talk about today are things you can expect once you graduate high school that they won't tell you about anywhere. This came up the other day in conversation with another YouTuber I was talking to, and I thought I'd just do a vlog about it because I have honestly been working in the mortgage industry for a number of years, and I have done a lot of customer service for the mortgage industry for many, many years. And just a couple of things, on this topic, I can let you know what to expect if you want to get a house of any kind. Uh, just a brief history. Back in the day, like the late 70s, early 80s, in order to get a house, you had to have a credit score of 650 and at least 20% down. So that let the bankers know, okay, it's a safe investment to loan you this money. You have a good credit score, you pay your bills, you have a job, and you've saved being the key word there, enough funds to actually afford this property without going bankrupt if something happens to you. So the difference is they deregulated since then. So now, part of the reason why the housing crisis happened and the almost economic collapse of the United States back in 2006 and 7 was because they gave houses and loans of hundreds of thousands of dollars to anyone with a credit card, no matter what their credit score was. If some cases it was the worse, the better. So the reason I'm giving you a little bit of history is that right now the interest rates are pretty much very, very low, historically, like below 5%. Back whenever the boom happened, they thought a good interest rate was going to be 7 to 8%. Now it's down to like I think 3-4% for the last couple of years, trying to get people to buy more houses again. So here's the crux of it. So you want to get a house. You're like, all right, I'm getting married. I want to get out of an apartment. I want to get some equity in a property instead of just paying rent all the time. Well, the problem with that is that if you have a job at, let's just say, retail, or maybe a company that's not a major company, like maybe Walmart or let's just say IBM, any company that's been around for a while and will continue to be around for years to come. Let's just say you're at a startup company or something that's only been maybe around for 6-7 years and you just got hired on. Well, the only problem is that once you have that house and that loan, let's just say you have a $100,000 loan for your house. You put, let's just say, $10,000 down. So you put down 10%. All right, so maybe your payment for the next 30 years is, I don't know. I don't want to do the math right now because that's just this is just hypothetical anyway. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you have a payment of $500 a month to your mortgage, period, for the interest rate you got. So with your interest rate and your mortgage payment, that's all you have to pay for your house to live in it, to continue to live in it for the next 30 years if you got a 30-year mortgage. What they don't tell you, what no one explains to anyone, is a couple things. One, you still have to have insurance on it, just like a car. So everyone thinks, oh, I have a car, I have insurance on that. I know that my insurance on this will be fine. Yes and no. The insurance is a requirement, so you can't just go, oh, this my insurance company that I had off of a website that is no longer available. I'll just wait a month and go to the next one. No, your mortgage company will then buy insurance for you at whatever rate they damn well choose, and then you have to pay them back for that and show them that you either, one, didn't lapse coverage, or two, you now have insurance and that they don't have to pay more than a month. And if you don't get on that right away, they will charge you every month for insurance that they're paying on your property because you haven't told them. So that's a pitfall. Then if your insurance rates change for any reason, like, oh, by the way, you're now in a flood zone. Blame your city, blame your county, blame the local government, whatever. They decide to redo the maps now because 1 yard of your property is within a flood zone. You now require flood insurance, which can be, I don't know, a couple $100 a month depending on where you live. If you're in Arizona, maybe not so much. But if you're in Florida or a coastal city, you may be paying $500 extra on top of that. So now, let's just say you budgeted for your mortgage payment, your bills, and everything else in your meals, and let's just say you have an extra, after you put maybe $200 in savings, you have an extra $300 a month towards whatever. Like maybe you want to go get an Xbox or something, and that's your spending money for that. Well, guess what? Now, instead of that, you have to pay $500 extra for flood insurance. And if you're and that's just you. Just to say if you're married and you have two sets of incomes, and you just have, let's say another $300 on top of that. So you're left with basically $200 left over from that for anything that comes up. Now, most people that are married have children or a pet. So children, in the first year alone of their life, cost $30,000 for everything that you're going to buy for that child, from food, upkeep, medical bills, hospital bills, sickness, anything. So let's just say you have a child that doesn't have that, so throw that $30,000 out, but you have a child and something happens. Okay, doctor's visit, that's $200 right there. If it's something minor. If it's just an office visit and your insurance is not good for medical insurance, that's something that could happen. Like, all right, so we have a little bit in savings, we'll take that out. But what if that happens, let's just say something like happens every couple months, where something comes up, oh, I'm in a hockey league and I broke my leg and I had to pay hospital bills for that. Oh, I was walking on a slippery day and I missed a curb and I fell and, tore my ACL. Anything can happen. So things that do happen, you're like, all right, well, what can I pay for this month? Food for my child, bills to keep the power and the heat on, so I don't starve or freeze to death when the winter comes. Or do I say, all right, what can I afford not to pay? So then you start going, all right, well, my car, I have to pay for that because I have to get to and from work, so I can't afford to have that repoed. So you pay your car, but then you're like, well, I can, probably not make my house payment. I'll save a ton of money this month, and I'll just be 1 month behind. Everyone thinks this for some reason. This is not the way it works. You can be 1 month behind, but once you are, that starts a cascade, if you will, of problems with your mortgage company, because your mortgage company then pretty much red flags your account going, oh, this person's behind. They're paying now, but they've been behind. And it used to be that after 2 months of delinquency, they can start to foreclose on you. And then once you get that first thing in the mail saying, hey, guess what? You haven't paid your mortgage in 2 months. We are now starting foreclosure proceedings. Depending on what your state you're in, that can either take years, which I believe in New York they have to go to court, so they're backed up for however long because of the original mortgage crisis. Or if it's somewhere like, let's just say, I don't know, another state that doesn't have very strict foreclosure rules, you can have the sheriff outside your house that month, depending on how fast they move and how much your mortgage company wants to get you out of that house. Everyone says the foreclosures aren't good for your lender because it costs them money. It may, let's just say it may cost them $10,000. If your house is worth $100,000, are they really losing that much? So think of it this way. Everyone thinks, oh, the government will help me. I can do HAMP or HARP or refinance or deal with these other things. Refinancing, if you got a house in the last 5 or 6 years and your interest rate's like 3 to 4%, and let's just say right now it went down to 2%. Your interest rate you could refinance to now is 2% from the 3.5 you got. Let's just say your mortgage payment you're paying was $500. So going from a 1.5 of a percentage off that, if you do the math, it is not that much. You're not saving even $100 a month on that. That will not save you. Plus, you have to add the fees and everything from refinancing in the first place, which can be thousands of dollars. So you pay $3,000, but you're saving over the life of your loan $2,500. You've just spent $500 of your own money on nothing. And yes, this has happened. I have taken many calls, seen many complaints of people saying this was supposed to help me. No one told me I wouldn't be saving any money, but I did it anyway, thinking I could sell the property. They can't sell it. So now, not only the emotional toll is taken on you, you're stressing every night because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if the sheriff's going to show up in the next, 2 or 3 days with the eviction notice going, get out, take what you can, whatever's left inside, we're locking up, deadbolting it, and they're going to just sell off everything else to a third-party company and let them deal with it. So, here's a question you always have to ask yourself. These are not uncommon. These scenarios. I haven't even gotten to escrow yet. Your taxes for your city that you live in. If you're in a school district, you owe school taxes. If you've built your house to spec and they're like, all right, so this year you're paying basically the land taxes. And then after that, they're like, all right, so you basically paid for your taxes. And now you pay the city taxes on top of that after a year. Because they have to, it's a new property, so they have to get the taxes done for the year. And like, all right, now you owe an extra $300, $400. Most people don't get escrow on their account, which basically adds all the insurance and taxes divided by 12 for the year and adds it onto your payment. So instead of $500 flat that we talked about before, you now have let's just say $800 payment that's going to pay for everything. They're like, all right, that's fine. I'd rather have that. I'd rather not mess with it. One problem. Your taxes and insurance can change throughout the year. At least once. So, what they do for your escrow is put a buffer on top of that. So, let's just say that last year you underpaid. You have escrow, it was supposed to be this much, it went up, your insurance rates went up, you couldn't find a better carrier, or your taxes went up. Let's just say $300 total. So now you collected for, let's just say $800, now you owe $1,100. They're going to basically add that deficit onto your next year's bill. So when you get that monthly statement, after all this has been calculated for the year, your payment's gone up an additional, let's just say, $50 a month to repay that, and another $100 for the updated taxes and insurance you have to pay. So now you're paying this higher payment. You have no idea what to do. You thought you could afford this house. Now it turns out you can't. This is what people are running into every day of the year. This is a daily occurrence. Because they don't explain it to you. No one in the public school, high school, college, anywhere. I had to start working in the industry because I had no desire to get a house. But I thought it was fascinating that this was all stuff I had no idea about. And I started working in the industry. I've taken every single type of complaint, call, you name it. Why's my payment gone up? Why y'all are trying to screw me out of my house? You're trying to foreclose on me. No, just no one told you that this could happen. And that it can happen, and it does happen frequently. Especially in today's economy. You never know. So, what are ways you can combat this? One, if you don't have a job that you think you're going to still have, or at least have good options for if you don't have it in the next year, if you don't have enough saved up to cover all your bills for a year, then I would not buy a house. I'm sorry. I live paycheck to paycheck. I live in an apartment. I've been doing that. I'm 35. I've been doing that for years because I'm not married. I have no kids. I have no pets. I have one roommate who has a dog, and that dog goes on his bills. I can do what I want, but I am the vast, vast, vast minority. Everyone from the last couple presidents say, oh, it's your responsibility, it's your dream to have a home. You must have a home. You're obligated to get a home because that drives the economy. Well, until the banks decided to give homes to anyone that could not afford it, and then the economy went crap. So I won't get into all the things of why the economy crashed or anything like that. This isn't about that. I gave you a brief history before. If you want to look up anything there are literally tons of documentaries. There are movies out. Margin Call, The Big Short, Too Big to Fail. Great movies that explain it way better than I could and entertaining about it. So, this is one of the things that they should tell everyone before they graduate high school, before they graduate college. They should all bring in everyone that's about to graduate and have a come to Jesus meeting. I'm not religious, but that's how serious it is. And tell them, hey, this is what you have to look forward to if you want to buy a home. This is one half of your life, basically. This is 30 years in a ton of debt that you may or may not be able to pay off. I know people with more than one property right now because they still can't sell their previous house. They've moved into another house, they started another job, another city, maybe a better job, but their other house still hasn't sold. They're still paying for that house. The taxes, the insurance, their mortgage on it. Until that is paid off, they're making 2 payments. Granted, there's many jobs out there you can afford to do that until you can sell it off, then you have a big sigh of relief. But what if that lasts for years? These are questions no one is asking when they get a house. And the people are selling it to you, this loan, let's just say that it's not a bank. You have somewhere where it's something you hear on the radio, you have an advertisement, oh, we sell for your state, we sell for, blah, 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 lending.com or whatever, and we will get you the lowest rate imaginable, otherwise you're with no fees, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they do that. They get you the lowest rate they can to get your money for the commission, and then after about, let's just say, 6 months to a year, maybe even not that much, maybe 1 month or 2, I've seen this. This has happened. They sell your loan. They sell your mortgage to someone that can service it, like a major bank. I'm not going to name names. They will sell it to a major bank. They can service it because they have the employees to. These other ones that are out there, unless it's a multi-million-dollar house and you're a Fortune 500 company, they're not going to service your loan. They're going to sell it off to whoever they can, take the money for that, take the commission for all the fees that you paid to get your loan with them. And then those people that you had a first name basis with are like, sorry, we don't service your loan anymore. Call major bank number 1. We sold your loan to them. Here's 800 number. Get ready to wait on a hold for another hour and a half while you get an answer to a simple question. And then they hang up. I'm like, not my problem. And that's it. That is literally it. They'll be sympathetic. They'll be empathetic. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Your loan was sold. We really wanted to hold on to it, but these things happen all the time. And then, Peggy Sue or Jim Bob, who sold you gave you your loan for BlaBlaLending.com, they don't care. They're going to their next sale. They got bills to pay. They don't care about you. So, a couple things you need to be aware of, other than those things. Before you buy a home, can you actually afford it if shit happens? And it is going to happen. Are you single? Do you have other bills? Or do you have any savings? If something did happen and you have to move, what if something in your family out of state needs your help and you have to go take care of them and there's no one else? Things happen. Granted, for a lot of people, it won't. And it can go, let's just say, 10 years without anything happening. Some people, drama just attracts them and stuff happens monthly, if not weekly for them, where there's just a money pit of just things they have to pay for all the time. There's plenty of people out there on the low spectrum scale of payments, of what they get paid as well. So it's not happening to the people that are well off as much. They're happening to people that live on minimum wage or maybe 10, 15 bucks an hour. These people think, oh, I'm doing well. I'm making, above minimum wage. I'm doing all right. I can afford to, go see a movie every once in a while, buy that game, take a trip once a year. I'm sitting pretty. And then they have this big debt over their heads that they have no idea what's going to happen if that ever comes crashing down on them. So, like I said, you need to ask these questions. You have to. And that's just one half. You think all that was scary? You think all that was, that's everyday life, that's what ifs and, stuff can't happen and will happen, but let's just say you get a fairly cheap home for $100,000. It doesn't sound that bad. What if it's $200,000? What if it's 300 grand? What if it's a $75,000 shack that you can't afford to get out of, but you can't afford to live in now? Like I said, these are all what ifs, but everyone across the board has these same issues. Their mortgage loan do not change that much if you're paying for a $500,000 house or a $75,000 house. The second half, the scariest part of all of this, is the debt of college debt. I went to basically, it was a community college. It got accredited. They became basically a small college. And I got a degree in about 3.5 years of a 2-year degree in criminal justice because I took my time. I didn't go by the curriculum they recommended, which was 5 classes a freaking semester. When you're working a full-time job and you're trying to do 5 classes, which is basically 5 days a week, you're going straight from work to school, and you've already done that for 18 years before, or however long, the public school system is, probably around 14, 15, since you're 5 years old. It can get you burned out. So let's just say you don't do that. You don't do what I did and take your time, get a degree, because I didn't want to do anything criminal justice when I got it. I knew that after the second year. What if you go to a 4-year college, you take out student loans, and you now have $250,000 of student debt? You change your major once, so you went to college for 5 years, and you're not a doctor. Let's just say you have a business degree or an arts degree or any of these other useless degrees out there. They're just generic because you didn't know what you want to do out of high school, but you just thought this was what you want to do because you decided when you were 5 that being a Fortune 500 company leader, CEO was what you wanted to do, so you got all these business degrees out there. But you didn't get anything that would get you in the door to any company that you want to work for. Or if you did, guess what? You and about 1,000 other people in your state alone are going for that same job when they graduate. I live in Texas. I live in North Texas. Where this is prevalent is down in Austin. Party school, great college atmosphere, good degrees, just an all-around good schools down there from A&M to UT. The problem is that when everyone from out of state crams into these towns, they have such a great time there that they don't leave. Or they want to get a job at Dell, which is based down there. And they're like, oh, I'll do that. They don't realize that they're not the only one to have this idea. Every other student that has your degree is going to be looking to intern at the same places, the same jobs, and you're fighting for this tooth and nail. There's no guarantees when you get your degree that your pay will reflect your degree, what you got. I know people have gotten their masters and they're working at retail because they can't get a job. Because what they're interested in and what they loved about their degree doesn't pay very well. Or they can't get a job in the industry even as an intern because, like you said, there's people that are 4 years younger, hungrier, that don't have their degree, that they don't have to pay as much and can do the same job and then bring up in their system, and they fought off 1,000 other people to get that. It's nothing against you personally, it's just the way the world works. But everyone thinks, oh, I have to go to college. I have to get a home. I have to go to college. My dreams will come true if I just take on this debt and everything will be fine. Meanwhile, the guy over here that loves woodworking, loves the work with his hands, everyone's telling him, oh, you should be an engineer, a chemical engineer. You love to work with your hands. You have this great personality. This is what you're geared toward and focused to. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I will. And so they go. They may not want this degree. They may get it because people told them they had to. So now let's just say you have a basic 4-year degree. You get out of college. You met someone in college. You get married. You have a kid. You have a dog. Now you have a home. And guess what? Now, for the rest of your life, you are owned. That is what I'm coming down to here. You are owned. Debt owns you. That house, it owns you. Until you pay it off, whoever bank is and now has your loan, they own you because what are you going to do? not pay them, have them repossess your house, guess what? Then your credit rating goes to 0, and you gotta spend 7 years getting that shit back up to something even remotely possible. That's even with bankruptcy, it still takes about 7 years to get your credit score back up. So, this was a long-winded explanation of basically a public service announcement of college debt doesn't have to happen. If you are in high school or you just want something that you want to do but you don't want to be left out and be like, oh, you're not going to college? Fucking loser. Who cares? Most of the people that are saying that they're going to your high school are going to be in debt up to their eyeballs and been working at freaking Walmart just to make ends meet with 3 kids and a house they can't afford. Yes, these things, they're the worst case scenarios, but they're not uncommon. Everyone thinks it can't happen to me. It won't happen to me. It happened to this other guy that I know and 3 other guys I know that are in college, but it won't happen to me. It won't if you're smart. If you make good decisions, if you think about your future, actually think about it. Ask questions, because not everything can be found on YouTube. Not everything can be found in the media, YouTube, anything. I'm putting this out there for everyone who's ever thought about their future after high school. I've worked in the mortgage industry for 10 plus years now, on the front lines, in customer service, from every complaint you can have, from the people with the lowest income you can imagine to literally Fortune 500 company CEOs and execs. That level. I've taken complaints, calls, written, verbal, doesn't matter. I've heard it all from everyone. And I tell them all the same thing. Or I told them all the same thing when I actually did work the phones. I don't work the phones anymore. But they all get the same spiel from every single person they call. They don't get, if it's a manager, that manager's literally not even one rung up the ladder from the front lines. They are literally on the same ladder rung as the person that took your call. That manager can't do anything. If you threaten to pull your loan, sorry, there's a million other people out there that with loans that we have their money already. You can refinance with another company. We went over that before. Doesn't really work that often these days. College. If you really, really, truly know what you want to do after high school, you're in the 1% that do. If you know what you want to do for the rest of your life after high school, you're in the 1% that do. Things change. People change. Relationships change. What everyone is telling you as you're growing up is that it's not, but it does. You have to prepare. You have to be ready. You have to expect things to happen. Now, this coming up on 30 minutes here for this video. I think I'm going to cut off right about there. So, final thoughts. When it comes to mortgages, ask every question you can. The people that are selling it to you don't care about you. They care about getting to the end of the day and making money, same as you. College. There's no shame in not getting a 4-year degree. There isn't. There are so many people that want to get 4-year degrees these days that literally are 9 to 5 jobs out there. The bricklayers, the ditch diggers, the electricians, the welders. You think, oh, those guys are, that's not an honorable profession. Those are the grease monkeys or whatever. Those are the guys that, tune my car. Yeah, but those guys probably making a lot more than you are out of high school, going to a 2-year college to get their certification and what they like to do and what they love to do every day. And once they get out, they're going to be making a decent amount of money, guaranteed. And their jobs are scarce these days. So they're always going to be available for work. So think about it this way. When it comes to your future, you must think long and hard about it. If you have a summer before you have to make a decision like your junior year or your senior year, use all that time. Talk to people. Get all the information you can. Watch videos like this one if they're available. Other than that, live your life and don't regret anything. Because when it comes down to it, these are your decisions, your life. This is Andrew T. Y'all have a good one.